development.
Platform, right. I wasn't sure if we're doing open platform or past lives at the minute, but we're doing
open platform development.
Platform. Okay, this is actually Robinson, everybody.
Heidi, hi. And that's Ivan Lee.
Tough crowd. Nothing. Oh, boom. Okay, go on, track on then.
So opportunity, we're looking for a sympathetic audience, that's all of you, but we're also looking for budding volunteers. So we're looking for people that are working at different levels to come up here, and we're going to have a safe, psychologically safe environment. Psychologically safe. Where you can feel safe to make mistakes, to say things, to not feel embarrassment. I know it's a big word. But this is your psychologically safe space. And the opportunity, Ivan and I both work in different ways, but work together quite a bit, is to provide some coaching as well. And there is different standards of mediumship. There's different types of mediumship. There's different ways of presenting it. Someone was asking me earlier on about the gifts. And, the gifts are there for everyone to work with. But like singing or drawing, we can all have a go at it. Some of us will be more naturally talented or gifted. Some of us will spend more time practicing. About that practice, that discipline, that investment, that's where you can get used to then using that skill or working with that spiritual skill. So we're going to do a little bit about that. Some of you, when you're working, tell us a little bit about history. Are you working already? Are you in a circle? Are you working at churches? And there's a big difference between, as I've found, working at a spiritualist church, your own spiritualist church, where your parents are the presidents, to working in a community centre in the middle of a council estate in South London, or a pub, a room above a pub. We did that charity night, and the audience is different. The congregation is different. When you're delivering mediumship to a spiritualist who's got 40 years experience as a spiritualist, they're often quite sympathetic, but they're also quite bad at feeding you. And as a medium, we always say about not feeding us information. Sometimes mediums are the worst congregation, actually, because they know you're with them. They're so keen to give you that feedback, which is lovely. But the best evidence is where everyone in the audience feels like they're also part of it, that upliftment. Because certainly on big crowds, 130 people here last night, not everyone's going to get the message. So I've always said, as a spiritualist, for me, if the mediumship is entertaining, great, but I don't do this for entertainment. And a lot of people, and there's lots of different organisations that regulate what we're doing, say, well, you've got to say that as your disclaimer. Well, the disclaimer is about the Consumer Act. And the Consumer Act says, if you charge someone for something and it's a service, you've got to be able to do it. So I say that I'm, as a medium, going to attempt to give you evidence of life after death, and that's what I'm going to do. If you don't accept the evidence I'm giving you, and I've not done it, then for me there's no charge. And in a spiritualist church, when people are coming in to see that, that's why I've always said, well, it's not for entertainment, but we hope you're entertained. We hope you come back. The spiritualist churches and centres need people to come back every single week. So we're going to have a bit of a practice. We're looking for people that want to come up and give messages, and Ivan and I will do a bit of coaching and mentoring. And if the message is going really well, we might not say anything. And we could sort of debrief it and pull apart the things that you enjoyed about that, the things that were good. If anyone's really nervous, get up and have a go. And we're here to help you. We're here to help you unpack that message and deliver it. Anything else you want to say?
Yeah. Yes. How many people here have done platform? This is no good, love. Get a bit of air in you. Right. A few of you have done it. Right. Okay. How many of you? You're not putting your hands up because you know you'll get picked. So, how many want to do platform? Be honest. You're first up, love. No. It is. Right, there's a few of you. Okay. I've worked for 2 weeks now. Now, I've been working about 20 years. I've done spiritual churches. That's how I started. Shirley was the first woman I ever got on with. What a show. Yep. And I've worked in clubs, pubs, theatres, all over the bloody place. And America, Vegas.
That wasn't mediumship.
That was a fun week. And loads of places. And so it's Ashley's worked in America, haven't we? It's a couple of things I like to talk about. Right. We've all been in spiritualist church with different mediums working, yes? The majority of it. No one's new to this, I've never seen it before, have you? You'll know basically what it's about. Okay, how many of you have been in there? Because I want to touch on the bit that Ashley said about entertainment. entertainment, but it should be entertaining. Does that make sense? Because you've been in the churches, or even in a theatre, or in a hall, and you've got the medium up there, and they're talking to one person, they're talking like this, they're talking like that, and you are zoned out. You are not even listening to them, correct? You could be missing some of the best evidence you've ever heard in your life, but because you're not invested in it, you just zone out. Does that make sense? That's why it's always nice when delivering, because we touch on how, what's the presence, stage presence, whatever, platform presence, because that's important. That's like your bread, where your mediumship is your meat, and sandwich analogy, love. Is that all right for you? Good girl, right. And I always like working a nice uplifting way, because there's enough misery in the world, isn't there? Let's be honest, especially if you're an Arsenal supporter. Mind you, not at the minute. And so it's always important to sort of engage everybody. Does that make sense? Especially doing platform. Yeah? Sure? Does anyone want to go get some coffee? Do you need waking up, you lot? Come on. Okay.
I think the other thing I was going to say in terms of role models, I have lots of role models. I was lucky enough to be brought up in spiritualism, so my entire experience of 40 years has been around spiritualism. And there are different aspects of mediumship that I've enjoyed as a member of the congregation, different types of evidence. Doris Stokes was like a grandmother figure growing up. And when you actually look at her evidence, sorry, Doris, she's going to haunt me in a minute. She wasn't spectacularly better than everyone else, but one of her special gifts was making the person in the room feel like they're the only person in the room. And it was all about them. And everyone else in the room felt that they were in part of that message. And I think that delivery was really important. She also had some really good books that sold really well, and she went on a good book tour about that. She was one of the founding members of Life After Death Promotions when we were taking this out. And she loved doing the theatres, and she loved having a bit of a chatter. But she was also really important is to get people back into the spiritualist churches, to get them back into the centres. Because as a way of life, spiritualism, it's important it keeps going. And we can get into a sort of almost like a rhythm of the same type of stuff. And there's also what I call lots of escape clauses. So Harry Edwards is one of the ambassadors here. Harry Edwards did a lot of mediumship teaching. And I still love his philosophy now in some of the books he wrote in the 70s. But he used to use this term, carry a bag mediumship. And he used to say, don't do it. And that's when you say, I'm going to give you Fred, Jane and Smith. Don't know. Take it away with your love. You know, that carry a bag mediumship. Don't be afraid by the no. If they've given you 3 names, ask them the relevance of the names. Don't just give it away for people to take. Now sometimes, and I mean this with all due respect, sometimes people are stupid. And
actually,
they don't mean to be.
All the time.
Yeah.
People are stupid.
And suddenly, when they get in that message, they forget the name of their second cousin twice removed, or they lived in a particular place. So if you're absolutely certain about the evidence, then you can say to them, and I've heard that before, I can't take it away, but don't make it fit. And it's about taking that no as a challenge. And we've got the opportunity here for you, if you're already delivering mediumship, to explore. Mediumship for me is all about experiments. And every reading, to a certain extent, is an experiment, because you don't know what you're going to get until you start getting it. So hopefully we've planted some seeds, and you're going to want to come up here. And I'm happy for people to come up here that have never delivered a message, and we'll talk your way through it. I'm happy for people that have come here and been doing it for 40 years and want to maybe practice and experiment some different stuff.
I've had a few things. Okay. As a medium, or clairvoyant, psychic, whatever you want to call yourselves, doesn't matter, because we all love to have labels, don't we? Yes, I'll answer for you. As a medium, okay, you have responsibility. What is your responsibility? Anybody? What is your main purpose? What is your main one thing you should be striving for? Sorry? No, shut up. No, stop. No. Evidence. Why? What's the evidence? What's your main job? To prove life after death. That is your main purpose, yes? Basically, that's what you do. You're not doing your fortune telling. You're not doing somewhere the car keys or whatever. Not telling anyone what relationship they're going to be in or want or whoever. Because the thing, especially with one-to-ones as well, even though we're not doing one-to-ones, there's 4 different reasons people come to you and also go to church. 1, obviously, they want to hear from someone a loved one that's passed. Yes? 2, they're interested. They're curious. 3, they've been dragged along by their wives. That's the men. And 4, they want their fortunes told and someone to sort their lives out, don't they? And we don't do that. Okay? Because the problem you'll have, and it is a problem, someone goes to see a counsellor, the counsellor gives them advice, they listen or they won't listen, they're not bothered. They go to doctors, sometimes they listen to the doctor, sometimes they don't. If they think you're connected to spirit or some higher whatever, they will hang on your every word. You know? Because sometimes you do have to be a bit careful. I'll give you an example. This was your granddad's example. If you're on your platform, you go, oh, Shirley, I've got a blah, blah, blah. You go, oh, yeah, lovely. Oh, they're telling me you're thinking about doing something. Oh, they want you to do it. Right? Is there anything wrong with that? Yeah, big time. Suppose she's thinking about suicide. Do you know what I mean? It's like you can't be fluffy bunny. You've got to be... And also, it's like not everyone's nice who's passed. Huh? If you get a right bastard coming in, you have to mention it. You know, I've got your dad here. Oh, he was a... Yeah? Be honest. Because people are stupid. I'm sorry, you are. I am. Because when you get a message, people are a bit... Spirit don't lie. Simple as that. And there's 3 different ways you can get the information. Does anyone know what they are? Well, there's 5 actually, but 3 main ones. Does anyone know what they are? Somebody help me. Go on. Clairvoyance, that's 1. That's 2. Boom! Home run. Right. Clairaudience is hearing, yes? Clairvoyance is? And the other one is? Sensing, feeling, right? Okay. As well as medium, you'll have a little bit of all 3. Yes? One will always be more stronger or more developed than the other. You'll always have one that's a bit more stronger than the others, right? What would be the best one to have? If you could pick, and say, I want that to be absolutely spot on, what one would you have? Clairaudience. Same? Oh, you there? Clairaudience, yes? That's the hearing, isn't it? I forget. Yes? Is it? Why? It's hearing. Clairaudience is hearing. I agree with you. Because, and I'll tell you why. Have you ever misheard something? Yes. I'm talking about normal life. Have you ever, and seeing as well. I mean, if I put that table there, chair even, chair turning the table just there. If I put the chair in the middle and I said to 3 of you describe that chair, you'd all give 3 different descriptions of that chair. Even that's the same bloody thing. Does that make sense? Yeah. Can you ever mistake a feeling? No. There you go, see, little tip for you. I mean, there's no right or, that's the brilliant thing about doing this work, there's no right or wrong in working, does that make sense? Yeah. So, and also, I've lost my thread completely.
We're going to get some people up in a minute. I think we're a good point. We're a good point. Get people up, start delivering some messages.
Now, all of you who, I'm knackered actually. You tired? Did you sleep well?
I slept good. I slept good.
I was really, anyway. You're right, everyone.
They're not interested in that.
They're not, are they really? And with, Claire, I like Claire. Anyway, but it doesn't matter, you get all 3, and the main thing you have got to be honest. I mean, if you're standing up in a church, on a church platform, you got, I don't know, big churches, I'll say it's 100, you've got 100 people there, and you get nothing, what do? Say nothing, yeah, run. No, you're honest.
Yeah, it goes back
you
to your
say,
point.
Not happening. Simple as that. Don't try and pull your way through it. And but there is a trick. Not a trick, a tip. It's a better word, isn't it? Yeah. You all know the difference between working with spirit and working psychically, yes? Yeah. The difference, right. If you're getting no one connecting in with you, you can always work psychically with the audience, congregation, the people, yes? Yeah. As long as you mention it. I've got no one coming here, but I want to work psychically for the minute here.
Tell them.
Does that make sense? Yeah? And 9 times out of 10, as you're working psychically, something will pop up. Yeah? What constitutes, is that right?
Yeah, that works.
Constitutes evidence. What constitutes evidence? Corey wants a lot on it, doesn't he? Don't give him a message. Wow. Corey wants a jam and all. Yeah, it's various different things. When I was growing up, I was going to say.
As a law enforcement officer, I'd say evidence is something that can be used.
Yeah.
Something that can be used to prove something, and it could be there, and all of those combinations of things. If it can't be proved, it could be evidential but of no use. So if I give a date of birth for someone, I say I don't know when they were born, it's useless. It can't be used as evidence.
Yeah, I always like the things I was all talking to establish who they are. Yeah? So dad, brother, mum, granddad, whatever. Okay? Name's always a good one. You always get the name that's nice. And also, and I always think it's an important one, what they passed with, how they passed. Because we're all born the same way, aren't we? Apart from the ones who try to get out of test tubes.
A couple of variations.
You know what I mean, you know. Don't stop.
Gooseberry bushes, virgin births.
But
Yeah.
the process of being made is all the same, yes? Maybe not how they get there, but, right? I mean, all right, you can have cesarean, but then you know that, because when you can always tell when drive cars, so getting out the sunroof. Boom. Quite good, wasn't it? And I forgot we're evidence, yes, so we're all born one way, but we all leave this wonderful planet in different ways. So many different ways you can pass, yes? So it's always nice to find out how they pass. Yeah? And the first, was it Linda Swartz, wasn't it, Shirley? She always said, 3 pieces of evidence. 3 pieces of evidence and a message. Is there always a message? No. They want you to say hello. You know? Might not necessarily be a message. So don't hang up and give it a message. Your job is to... These weekends are different, because everyone here knows that life carries on. So you've got an easy audience. I took Ashley to, when he mentioned the pub, we did a charity thing, and I took him to a pub. I'm not saying it was rough, but the mice had flick knives.
And the people were there to support charity, not to get evidence of life after death. So I remember going up first, and people sat in the front row, their arms folded. If you're a medium, then prove it.
Yeah, they're completely different audience. They sit there like that, and they're like, yeah, go on then, go on then. Yeah, come on then.
But do you think it changed the types of evidence I got? No. It just meant I had to be more direct.
You've got to work hard, and you've got to get real sort of... In the church, you go, oh, but this lovely lady here, blah, blah, blah. 9 times out of 10, people go, yes, weren't they? You take Mr. Joe Average on the street, like, nice lady here, blah, don't talk about mate. You know what I mean?
And that, I think you've also got to resist that urge, because I am a spiritualist, I'm proud of that. I've got to resist the urge to use my language to describe things. So in the pub, there's no point me talking about auras and colours and healing if they don't understand it. If they've got their nan through that says, you're puffing too much marijuana, stop. That's the message they need to get. They don't need me to try and interpret it. I just need to give what the communicator's given, because they'll receive that in that better evidence. So it's trusting that evidence. As the medium, it's our palette. That's the whole word. But the less interpretation, the more delivery. And that's what we'll practice a bit with today. Okay.
And delivery is important as well, the way you present yourself. That adds meat to the gravy. No, gravy to the meat. That's right, isn't it? That adds gravy to the meat. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right, get some volunteers.
Okay, so we're going to get a couple of people up. There's a couple of ground rules. I'm going to try and say no asking questions today. Okay, so let's practice. Because if you need to ask a question, you're sort of almost in that cold reading space. It doesn't mean you're doing it deliberately, but certainly to the young and unbaptised, they're all asking a lot of questions. So we give them the information. If it doesn't make sense, then it's not with them. Right, so I want the first couple of people, someone to come up and stand with me. We're going to deliver a message.
Come on.
So who's going to come up and stand? Okay, so, and another person to stand up with Ivan. So one more person to come up and deliver a message.
Don't make me come and pick you. Come on then.
Okay, so while you're sitting there as good members of the congregation, think about what you're wearing. Think about things that make sense to you, and we'll give you some information and evidence. So I know you're both working at different levels. You're sitting in a circle. You're serving churches.
I am.
You are indeed. Okay, so Nikki, come and sit with. Stand with me for a minute. Do either of you have a link right now, or do you need to prepare? You need a bit of time.
I don't know.
Okay. So turn around then. Face that way. Okay. Don't worry about that. I'll tell you what they need to know. I want you to tell me if you've got a communicator. So that's a yes or no answer. I'm going to ask a question. Do you have a communicator at the moment?
Yes.
Okay. So are they a man or a woman? Or it's 2022. Do they identify as something else?
He's a man.
You've got someone claiming to be a man. Right? So I always like sending someone. I've got someone with me that's claiming to be a man and is claiming to know you because... How do they know the person in here? Friend, family,
Grandparent.
Okay, so I've got someone here who's claiming to be a grandfather
Grandfather.
to you. Right, so that's the first bit of information. I like saying it claim to be because I've not verified it yet, but you do it in your own style. So she says she's got a man here claiming to be a grandfather. Okay, Are they a grandfather? Okay, and we'll explain why we're doing that in a minute. Are they a grandfather to someone in this room, or were they a grandfather? Was that one of the roles they had in their life?
Grandfather to someone in this.
Okay, so this would be a grandchild. So I've got someone here would understand a grandfather in the spirit world. Okay. Do we know how he passed to the spirit world?
In his sleep.
Okay. Why? What did he die of? People don't die of sleeping, we do it every day.
Okay.
So let's be more specific.
Heart attack.
Heart attack, okay. So heart attack, heart failure.
Heart failure, probably.
Heart failure, okay. So we give that information. We've got a man claiming to be a grandfather. Heart failure, he's telling me he's had heart failure. Did use the word attack as well. Maybe he felt somewhat of an attack. Was it sudden? Had he had a life-limiting heart problem?
No, it was just... No, it was literally sudden.
Okay, good, so some good evidence now. Do you have, it doesn't matter, do you have any names or locations or days?
Something about Albert, I don't know.
Albert, right, so Albert could be significant. Is Albert their name or just a significant name? Significant name. Significant name. A significant name. And we've got to be careful because not a physical body at one point, and they're not necessarily so attached to the name depending on their own understanding. So, okay, you can turn around now because I didn't want you to read the room. And as spiritualists, sometimes we're looking for that because we're looking for that revocation. But we can now, I want you to present all of that information in one go, okay? Summarise it. Just as you did with me.
Okay. We're looking for a grandchild of a grandfather who passed in his sleep with a heart attack, went suddenly, didn't know he was going to have a heart attack, lived into his mid-70s and passed.
Okay, you've added some extra information, that's fine. So, who understands that? Okay, so there's two people, okay? So, it's always good to check, particularly when, do they know each other? Because it could be the same granddad. Or maybe they didn't know each other, but their granddad certainly did. Give them more specific. Give them more specific information. Always, because I said sometimes people are silly. Does everything make sense?
Does everything make sense?
Not the name.
Okay, right. So Albert, no, don't ask them. Go back to the communicator. Albert doesn't make sense. Ask him in your head. Do you know either of them two people? Ask him. No, you ask in your head, and he answers. You tell on the mic.
Yes. One of them.
Which one?
That guy.
Okay. So ask him. Can I come to you?
Can I come to you?
Okay. So now you said, right, he didn't understand Albert, right? So you'd say to him, what was you trying to say about Albert? Okay, now we've got to be careful here, because Albert could be Prince Albert, could be Prince Albert, it could be something significant, it could be anything you associate with Albert, or Al, Alan,
Pub.
Bertie, a pub.
Yeah, that's possible.
Okay, right, so do you know who your communicator is? You can say to him now, do you know who your communicator is?
Do you know who it is?
Right, good. Don't get him to give you any. You've already now established a connection to life after death, yeah? So because we're doing this quickly, just ask him in a couple of words what do you want to say? In your head, if anything, even if it's just hello.
Strong.
Okay, and then say. Good. Give her a round of applause.
Comes up. We're going to do it slightly different because Elaine does work. You've done platforms and stuff, and yeah. Wait there.
You can go sit down there, Club. Well done. Good job.
Bloody amateurs. Right, stay there. Right. So we're going to do it slightly different because she has actually had a sort of working on platform. Okay. And I like the way with the information. What's her name? Was up. Good job. Lovely work. Nice evidence. How could she improve on that? Not getting. Doing. I'm not going to do that with Elaine because Elaine's top form, top notch. And wait. Yeah. Instead of doing what you was doing, well done, darling. You could have gone. He's a granddad past his sleep. I think I might. You deliver that back. here at the hotel. Room for one night only. Amazing, incredible. Elaine from Essex, everybody.
Right, first time with Mike, so I hope my voice sounds great.
We've got coming through, Mike.
Yeah,
Go. I'll use that one.
use that one. Right, okay, you can hear me, can't you? Right, okay. Faces there are looking at me this evening. Me. We went to bed late last night, didn't we? Right, okay. Right, okay. Now, first off, I do have a name that comes to mind, and I can hear it as a man's voice, not as a woman's voice telling me. I'm getting the name Charlie, probably more known as Charles, and I'm getting the impression that I'm over this side of the room at the moment. I'm also hearing the words Maria. Now, this is very relatable to the song because of how I've heard it been said in my head. I'm seeing a gravestone with R.I.P. on it, somebody who's just passed. And I'm aware that red roses are as part of the message. And I believe that rose is what I've got at the moment. And I'm hearing Rose because I believe that is the name as well.
What you should do, all that,
But,
throw it out and see where you can.
well, I'm over here because I'm being dragged this way, over here.
Okay.
Right, okay.
Anyone else? Does that make sense to anyone else? You sure? Or we will open up the room.
I do want to go back to where I heard Maria. Is there a reference there to about the song, or is it sort of relevant to being Spanish or something like that? Yeah, I'm feeling it more with my stomach, so I'm feeling like I'm over here. Now, Rose is a name as well. Does that make difference to you? I'm hearing somebody shout at me, Nan. So there's a reference to Nan within this message.
There are two on the other side, but Rose wasn't her name.
Right. Right, well, I know I said about seeing the red rose, but I'm also seeing a pink rose. So there's
Pink roses, I understand. I wouldn't buy myself red roses.
well, maybe you should.
The only bit that I didn't understand.
Right, okay, and the reference to someone recently passing.
Yes.
Right, okay. And there's something about insisting on being buried rather than being cremated.
He was undecided what he wanted, and I feel like maybe he did the right thing.
Right, okay. Well, maybe part of this message is to say, I'm happy with it.
Okay, thank you.
Right, because he keeps showing me, there is a gravestone.
Not yet, there isn't.
Right, because he's mentioning the gravestone, because obviously that's where the RIP
There
is.
is something there.
Right, okay. And I'm also... he's down here.
He knew a lot of people, so I can't place Tony, but I would have to find out about that.
Right, would you understand it as Anthony? Because sometimes
Oh,
people
yes.
change it to Tony,
Yes,
because that's what he said.
I don't want to feed you, but it would be in a different language.
Right, okay. And I also want to mention in here, someone's put like a gold bracelet with a gold heart on it.
I understand that.
So somebody's shown me that, and I do really want to say to you, I love you, because that's what they're telling me. So there is a man up here as well that's relevant to you, and it would be him saying that. That's what I'm feeling with that. they're making reference to that. And someone's singing Daisy, give me your answer do.
Oh yes, that be the name that you've got.
Right, so that's what they're doing. And I want to mention about a golden carriage, which sounds a bit daft, but has someone just got a new car?
No, but I probably need one.
Right. That.
We've had a conversation about those issues.
Okay. Look at you, I can see like a round up. So you're realising your energy at the moment. All right. All right. Right. Okay. For some reason, there's also somebody saying the word pebbles. So I significant with collecting the pebbles and putting them in different places. This is what.
There's a place with a lot of cobbles that I'm connected to,
Right. Okay.
rather than pebbles.
Right. But they're grown.
Yes.
So that's all right.
Somewhere, and I placed a pebble at this place.
Right. Okay. Talking about how in your cooking you're using more herbs and stuff like that, because somebody's trying to show me a bunch of herbs, which so there's someone up here who's a chef who used to do cooking in restaurants.
Yes, connected to the gentleman that you've got. Thank you. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So okay. Right. Okay. Go on, but you want me to wind it up? Right. Okay. The other person that wants to say hello to you is Joan.
I can't place
Right.
this month.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll move on from that. All right. So I hope that was okay for you. All right.
Elaine, everybody, round of applause. Come on, very good. Very good, Elaine. Okay, right, now, we're going to pick on Elaine, because she can take it. Sit down, love. Nothing wrong with that, fine. Some nice evidence, wasn't there? So how could Elaine improve on that? Not the evidence, that was fine. How could she improve on it? No, delivery's all right. People deliver in different ways, but it's like compact it. Does that make sense? Compact it. And you let her talk far too much. She wasn't giving you anything, but you let her talk. I mean, she wanted to let her talk, but she was sort of, you should be in control. Does that make sense? Simple as that. It's just they're simple things.
I was on that, the difference between a one reading and delivery, we've got to think about our time that we have. So in a 30-minute private reading, you've got almost that conversation sort of level. But in the room, if you're not getting message, how long do you want the reading to last? 10 minutes.
I'll go 5.
5 minutes, because
Depends if you got a good one or not.
yeah. The message, how long do you want the message to last? When you're saying yes, you want that link, but when there's 130 people in the room, good message, and I'm getting all the evidence, but online stuff, and there was like 30-second delay on Facebook. I thought, I don't need it. Once I've established who the communicator is, I'm going to deliver my message to you, and I don't need the verification. But actually, if you are talking for 5 minutes, and actually you're turning and facing here, you want that part of the room to be in too. So at least you're hearing her say yes. And obviously last night we used the microphone. You want everyone in the room to hear you.
Use the microphone. Be in control. Don't argue. And yeah, just it's simple little things, because like I say, that's not about the evidence. It's perfect. It's quite good. It's very, very good. But if you deliver it, it has more of a punch. That makes sense. Yeah. And when you finish the message, right? Everybody, you round it up. So, for example, I've got a gentleman. His name's Jack. Second name Mikar. Jack Mikar. He is Jack Mikar up. Jack Mikar up. I'm making this up, by the way. He's got a brother, Mark Spencer. Anyway. It's a message, or was a message from your Uncle Charlie, who sends his love. Only passed recently. He's fine with the being burnt, not the burial, whatever. Does that make sense? Just round it up, a few little bits, because that leaves people and the recipient with a bit of boom. Because you all know, what's it, the human brain, it retains 30, is it 30%? What you're told? You know when you retain 30% and everything goes, ooh, cuckoo. Does that make sense? So you want to round it up at the end to leave them with that. Right, we need another volunteer. 2 volunteers. Couple of volunteers. Come on, live a bit. Be excited. That's fine. We want people who've never done it before. You sit down. No, come on. I'm joking. Come on. Right. Because if you're going to get it wrong, here's the place to get it wrong. Does that make sense? Right. You know what you're doing, don't you?
Well, no, really.
What do you mean, not really?
Lisa.
Okay, so we've got Lisa that's never done anything like this before, and I just want to reinforce it because we're all at different levels. In a weekend like this, there are so many prayers. There is first time, just going through those concepts of yesterday. The intention to be here, we all start to open up a little bit. We all start to become a little bit more attuned. If anything, you need to constantly close down. Okay, so that's a really important thing to do. Otherwise, you walk around so attuned, you can be always ground yourself and close as well. Good that you've already got closed. I always open it. Always make sure that on a Sunday night Wimbledon church, just for the mediumship, we tend not to say the prayers. We're still doing it. So
And also when you start, you come up, but even if it's your first time, because you've got to remember, and if you've only been working as on platform for a time, because we're all nervous, I mean, the nerves never go away, it never stops, it doesn't. Or the congregation, whatever you want to call the people, don't know it's your first. They don't know you've only done 1 or 2 platforms. As far as they're concerned, you're such an experienced medium, you've been at it for years. So you portray that. Does that make sense? Worst thing to do is come and say, yeah, I've only been doing this a little while. Straight away, they're going to be sitting there going, oh, they're going to be shit, aren't they? It's true. It's human behaviour. If you come up there and go, yeah. Hi, my name's Ivan. I'm so happy to be here. My wife, I'm happy to be anywhere. Yeah, whatever. I'm glad someone got that one. Ready, Elaine? Go on, get on. Go on.
Yes, it was at Lisa.
That's it. Come slowed up here.
Okay.
Slowed up here for a minute.
Even though Elaine was talking about the importance sometimes of engagement. Okay, so communicating. Matt. Okay. How did they pass over to the spirit world? They're not telling you. Give me a feeling. Ask them to put your hands somewhere on your body.
I think it's stomach,
Okay, why do you think stomach?
because I can feel it.
You can feel something in your own stomach. Okay, so you're feeling something in your stomach, okay? So we've got a man talking about his stomach, and you took both hands towards the centre of the stomach, okay? Relationship to someone in the room.
I think it's either a grandparent or a parent. It's an older gentleman,
Why do you think that?
because they've got really whitish hair. They're
Okay, so
quite,
it's an age thing.
yeah,
So did they tell you, grandfather?
no.
Okay. So we stick to them what they've told us, and you've actually started to see a description. So she's talking about a man with light white or grey or silver hair.
Yeah.
Okay. When you say grandfather, do they say, ask, are you? Okay, so we've got someone who had some okay. So we need something specific, okay? Now we said about dad and granddad, and we spoke about the description, okay? Your dad and grandfather may be alive or well, you don't have to tell me that, but say to them, if you are their dad, show me my dad. Okay, so say that in your head. And if you were their granddad, show me my granddad. Okay, so you'll know, and that will give you a clue on whether or not it's granddad, whether or not it's your dad or your mum's father, son. Ask them to use your own memories. Don't think about it. You've got a couple of seconds, and then just tell me what it feels like within your own memories.
It's that.
It's dad. Okay, so it's someone here, and they'd be dad to the person in the room.
Yeah.
Yes. Right, okay, so we've got a hand up, we've got someone in the room that understands that, okay? So keep okay, so we've got feelings. Do they want, is it psychological, they wanted to get something off their chest? Is it the person? So ask the communicator if they have a name of someone that you would know that they can show you the picture of. So a vivid image, you know, and it just flash up. They're giving you a vivid image of. So she's got a vivid opportunities. So the people that have that, they also have. Okay, yeah. So we know now, okay, we've got people in the room that understand the communicate, that there's a sibling, that there's a father and a grandfather, is a father relationship to this person, okay? So I said, generally it's a 50-50 guess. You don't have to guess, you can ask them. Is the person you're looking for in the room a man or a woman, or someone that could be transgendering? And it always becomes more complicated because we've grown up with a world of understanding man and female. Everything is a bit more fluid these days, but ask them for a gender in the room.
Again, I'm getting a feeling it's for a woman,
Okay, why do you feel?
because I just keep getting a woman's image.
Okay.
coming through.
And I'm being hard on you because you're not really feeling as a woman. You're seeing an image of a woman.
Yeah.
Okay, so some sons of spirit will go, oh, I feel this, and I thought, I don't. They've shown me a woman. Okay, so you're looking for a woman in this room that's going to understand dad. So they would be daughter. Okay, so person still in, yeah, spiritualist bingo, good. Okay, so you've now got someone that has been saying yes, and I think we're just left to the one person, aren't we now? Yeah. Okay, so you can turn around. Okay, so can you shout out your name? Shirley. So Shirley has understood everything you've said. Okay? She understands the communicator as a sibling. She's understands that this could be her father. She understands the complications. Okay? So you've done all that just by interrogating the communicator. So now what you do is practice what I've said. Summarise it all. Imagine we've said nothing. Imagine you look at the audience and just say who you've got and who in the room is going to understand it. And obviously we know that Shirley's room, but I want you to practice delivering it all in one go. And then without even thinking about it, give her a 15-second reading about what her father wants to say. And you can finish by saying, I've got this this person, blah, blah, blah. And they say, and just say it. Don't think about it. Go for it.
So I've got a gentleman who's a father and son in the room. I'm looking for
I'll hold it.
a female. And this gentleman feels like he had something wrong with his stomach and with his chest. Feel that there was breathing difficulties there.
Okay, and they communicate with their daughter tonight.
And they're communicating with their daughter tonight.
And they want to say.
And they want to say, they're giving me a few things.
Say.
So dominoes is coming to mind. The numbers 3 and 1 seem significant, and the name Fred.
What's the message for Shirley then? Short message. Ask him. Give your daughter a quick message.
It's just sending love. But yeah,
Sending love.
Sending love.
So don't just say that, because she might have been waiting 10 years for it.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Yeah.
it's really important to say your dad loves you.
Yeah.
He's come here to say he loves you. So tell her.
Yeah, your dad's come to say he loves you.
Okay. Dominoes, 3 and 1 are significant.
Yeah, and the name Fred.
Okay. So did he live at number 31? Are there 3 kids? Yeah. Understand the significance of it, because I've got 3 and a 1, not a 4. So tell her I've got the significance of a 3 and a 1. Okay. Was it siblings? Why is he telling about the 3 and the 1? Just say it. Don't think about it.
Yeah, it feels like 3 siblings, but that almost could be a stepchild or an adopted child as well. That's what I'm feeling.
Would you understand that?
Not adopted child.
But you understand the 3 and the 1? Yeah, kind of. Yes or no?
Yeah.
I'm going to be hard on you now.
Children.
Yep.
There's 2 and the 1 separate.
Okay. So they understand the 3 children. He's talking about the 3 children, the significance of that. He being the 1, him being dad. Your dad is here, he loves you. And then you nice punchy message. But you've given evidence, you've established who it is that's communicating, and then you're giving that back to him.
I just wanted to say,
Yeah.
I know you're saying there was confusion about father, grandfather, but my daughter's here as well, so it could
There we
be
go.
her grandfather.
Okay, so
Yeah.
extra confirmation for you. And you finished the message, that's always a nice way to finish on. You finished on a saying, yeah, I know the communicator is, yeah, I've got my daughter here, yeah, I understand the significance of the 3, and you sent his love.
Yeah.
Good. Give Lisa, oh, go on, Shirley. Dominic,
Okay.
yeah? And if you don't know a Dominic, he's showing you the Dom to get you the Dom,
Yeah,
okay?
that-
Or we like pizza, yeah. Good. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Lisa a round of applause. Well done, great job.
Right. Let's do it a bit different, shall we? Oh, I know. Who mentioned voices? You did, didn't you? Right. A voice is necessary. Necessary. Right. Now. Right. Sit. What we're going to do now, I did this when I did do a survey. Geez, you bloody toodlers. Okay. No, I'm joking. I don't have the time. Too busy. Right, and I did this with just doing myself quite a lot. The person who's going to get the message. Good here, mate. Does that make sense to everybody? So, because it won't. Yes, that's what I mean. Yeah. People work in different ways and that. There was someone else, there was another medium. Was you there? It was at Wimbledon. They said, oh, I have to have walks, it helps me connect with spirit. No, it don't. I have walks, it dries my throat. So I get dry throat when I'm working. Yeah. It's Ian, everybody. Round of applause, please. And that's all he wants to hear.
Right, I've got a man.
Look there.
I've got a man called John with me.
Right. Does anyone here understand a man? Has he passed?
He has, yes.
Just checking about sexuality. A man called John who's passed. Right. Yes, there's a few hands. More information, Ian, my friend.
I'm thinking about fishing.
Don't think.
He's feeling about fishing, or he's telling me he's
Feeling
feeling
about
about fishing. Yeah.
So he's telling me.
He's telling me
Thank you, that sounds
about fishing.
See how bad that sounds already? He's telling me about
Fishing.
Fishing. Is there any connection with fishing? Right, is anyone else, or is that just, not necessarily with John, but fishing and John, yes? Anyone else? Right, carry on. Who does he want to talk to? Male, female, his daughter, his granddaughter, his lover?
His daughter.
Right, so I want a dad. Is that the John, the dad?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
You're putting it on the line here, right?
Yeah, no, I am.
Okay, just
Yeah,
checking.
definitely.
John Dad. Who's got John Dad? Right. You're down to one. She's agreeing with that. Now, carry on, Ian. And the fishing makes sense? Is that with John? Go on.
He's talking about a house or a flat move or...
Right, you're in the process of moving or buying a house or flat? No, could be symbolic.
Mm.
Ask.
I'm asking.
What do you associate here? What do you associate with the flat or flat packs or moving or transitions? What does it mean to you? Changes at home? Would that, so think about what it means to you. Because if he's giving you the image, think about what it means to you.
Yeah, it means changes at home, definitely.
Are there changes at home happening? She's ruined it. Stand up, Ian, she's ruined it. It's your fault. Come on, stand. You want to stay there or you're right?
Oh, no, it's not that.
Go on then.
Go on, it's not that. Why not?
You're with the young lady over there. So what's the first thing you do?
Which lady?
Exactly. And you say?
Right, I've got a man called John, who, your dad, sorry, called John, who, you know, he sends his love to you. I'm feeling like he wants to give you something, or you've been given something recently, by someone. I don't know whether you know
Would
that.
that signify birthday? Would that signify birthday? Has there
Yeah,
been a recent birthday?
yeah, it could be.
Has there been a recent birthday? Go ask her.
Has it been a recent birthday?
No, tell her.
Tell her.
There has been a recent birthday. It was your birthday.
Yes, it has been, but no, it's not mine.
Right.
Get to verify.
Yeah.
Her dad would have also
I've got a leg problem, and it's something to do with the left side of the chest. Is how he passed.
I'm not sure exactly how he passed. That wasn't about.
Well, that is how he passed.
Yeah, that's good. Well done. Tell her.
And basically, he just wants to send a lot of love to you. And he's with you again. And I don't know why I keep scratching now. It's obviously something to do with he's making me scratch. So yeah, anyway, thank you.
Do that. No, whoa.
Oh, right.
So with the scratching, what would that signify?
An itch.
Do I mean about patience? No, could it be a skin condition that someone on the earth plane has?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
I mean,
you
yeah.
can
I'd,
put that forward.
could it be a skin condition?
If someone
Someone
on the earth plane
has.
has someone on the earth plane got a skin condition.
Yes. Oh, to make sense. Yeah. That's why I'm.
Does it make sense?
That's
'Cause
why
you're
I'm
a damn
scratching.
good medium.
Said he just wants to send it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Say that.
Well done. See, nothing wrong with that evidence, Tom, but until you ruined it with the voice. You need the voice. It's nice to have, and I know people have different thoughts on it, but it's my workshop, so it's my thoughts. And we all know I'm always bloody right. Isn't that right? Q, okay. That wouldn't. I will argue everything. And why bring up not an argument, but a reason? because it pushes you. Does anyone ever get to the pinnacle where they're as good as they're ever going to be? No. So you've always got to push yourself. Do I, when I come off and from a demo or a reading, do I ever think it's the best thing I've ever done? No. I could have always done it better. No, I'm lying. They're all good. No, I'm joking. You can always think you can do it better. You never reach that top. Everything. And because we all know that it's not, the more you understand. I know that, but the more you know, lost them completely.
So experience philosophy, we're doing it in a panel at some point. I've been talking more about philosophy in the last 10 to 15 years than I did at the beginning of my life, but I've now got answers, because every time you take a step in an advancement, you open yourself to even more possibilities and more questions. So with your mediumship, and then you smell it, I can feel it, and it just continues to expand. So yeah, this is what I think you need that.
Always. Okay, right, now, we all here, without a shadow of a doubt, I would presume everyone here knows life carries on. There is no such thing as death. Yes? I like to think of it as it's home. It's where we come from, it's where we go back to. And here's a little fact for you, okay? Okay, any life species or living form on this planet, or the species, if it disappeared in one go, it would affect the ecological running of the planet one way or another. Some in a big way, some in a small way. Does that make sense? Yes. And if it all disappeared tomorrow, it would not affect a thing. That's us. So what does that tell you? We don't belong here. You know, we are like a cancer. We on this planet, we take every resource, use it up, and move on and spread. That was in the Matrix, wasn't it? That was in the Matrix, wasn't it? But it's true, because we don't belong here. We're just tenants. Home's heaven. I call it heaven. Call it what you like, but heaven is where we come from. It's where we belong. I mean, we've been coming that with the past lives as well. You know. Yes. So, knowing what we know, and I suppose most of you go to churches, yes, spiritualist churches, or even normal churches. Who knows? I was a godfather to Ash's baby the other week, and he had two. One in the Wimbledon church. Yes.
Yeah.
And of course she was there. And the other one in a Catholic church. I nearly burned in the flames, but I was okay. It's when I touch the holy water, do the thing that it did sort of burn a bit. There you go. Why? Now, do you think it can ever be absolutely proven in the world, yes, that there is life after death? Without shadow of doubt, everyone will have the 100% belief that we have that life carries on. Would that ever happen? If it could be proved scientifically, would that ever happen? No. It won't. It will never happen. Why? Oh, there we go. Yeah, well, yeah, but why would it not happen? Yeah, but bingo. We were not supposed to. Because if everyone on this planet, you're like this, believe that life carries on, there is no such thing as death, yes? What would happen to the value of life? Yeah, you had a bad day, your partner's left you, you lost your job, oh, I'm going to top myself. It's all right, I know I'll carry on. So the value of life, there isn't. Does that make sense? Could you, philosophically, could you be arrested or put in prison for murder? Could there be such a thing as murder? Because life carries on. I love opening up Pandora's box.
Hold on, the fact that we don't know necessarily about that would only hold true if you remembered all your past lives, because you can't assume
What you got there?
the future one.
No, I'm talking about, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about going back to heaven, not this life's on this earth, forget the earth. We've gone back home. Yeah? Past lives later. Does that make sense to most people? Good. Another volunteer, please.
Yeah, we got about another 7 to 10 minutes, and then tea, coffee, and cake in the restaurant.
Right.
So.
Does no one want to have a go? No, it's all right if you don't, because we're waffling on for a while. Is that all right, everyone? Any questions?
Yeah, if people want to ask questions, please do. I just wanted to finish with just another couple of them principles, because we all do this uniquely, and that is what makes the variety. You know, I like to think that when people come to see a medium that they like, it's because they like them, but we want people coming to the churches in the centres every week, and therefore you want that variety, you want the different palette. So I think it's really important that we're not all the same, that we all deliver it slightly differently, we all interpret the information and the evidence slightly different. The important train is that evidence of life after death, and to try and make it uplifting. I also think really quite passionate about this personal responsibility, you know, and as a medium. I occasionally will allow clients to ask questions, and I think it's important that they can. But it goes back to that first thing that Ivan was saying, is if your mum was not a financial advisor, don't ask her what to do with your money, because all she'll do is give you an unqualified opinion. If you want your opinion on your boyfriend from your mum that's now in the spirit world, then she can give you her opinion. It was just her opinion. I used to get my opinion from my nan. And I used to ring her up and tell her about everything. So for me, receiving a message, actually my nan giving an opinion on something would mean something to me. But I think it goes back to that point, is someone wants out of the message. I don't know if I should dump him, her or not, or whether or not I should go for the job. Their personal responsibility, I think, is just as much as important. And I think as mediums, we have that responsibility in sort of understanding that. And therefore, while I said don't interpret and worry too much about things, just give what you get, you also have to maintain that professional relationship with your guide team so that your guides are allowing them to come through. And I know that we had different people at different standards. Mary Dixie was actually my circle leader that Nicola sits with. But I think it's that importance of finding someone that can teach you. Find someone, and you can even do it online now, but I think the importance of sitting in that power of a circle, learning, having someone that's been around, even if they've been around 2 weeks more than you, it's that opportunity to practice doing this sort of stuff. You know, those of you that want to serve, and I always call it serve, for me it is service. It's a big part of spiritualism, giving back to people. For those that do it, I was joking with Jeff Hewitt, one of our mediums on the coach here, you don't get involved in spiritualism for money or for fame, you do it because of that calling of wanting to do it. If you can do it professionally and it can help pay your bills, fantastic, I'm not knocking that. But you don't get involved in it to become a millionaire or something overnight. So feel those instincts. It's great that people got up and did that today. Just keep practicing, keep investing.
Yeah, quite right. And to touch on that, we said, throat's gone. Touch on what Ashley was talking about, because it's like, if you want to serve churches, oh, thank you, mate. Serve the churches, fine. And it's good. It's good to serve churches, of course it is, because you're giving something. And what's the main purpose? Because you want to help people and healing. Many different ways of healing. Words, connecting them with their loved ones that have passed. But then you want to think, why do I want to do it? I mean, I don't know why. I sort of got dragged into this. My plan was never to be a medium. Never. I do it for a living. I make a living for the dead. Yeah, you're going to take me over soon. Right, because it's like I never wanted to do it. I was sort of dragged in. It's through circumstances. Meeting his granddad, Keith Charles, it happened. Really strange story, but then you have to wait to. I mean, I finished my first book last week. Took me ages to colour it in as a joke. It's a joke. The old ones are the best. But no, you don't think why you want to do it. I mean, there's probably a few people here that have dragged in. Look, your granddad was dragged into it out the blue.
Yeah.
You know the story, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. We won't share that. That's something we should have wrote a book. But yes, so it's all about service. And it's service to who? Lost. No. Thank you. Service to spirit. Glad you're here now. Okay. No, it's service to spirit, isn't it? I mean, never mind the bloody public. Don't worry about them. Okay? Do you know what I mean? But people will come and they will want to know what to do with their relationship, mate, because I'm sorry, but it's not what we do. You know? It isn't.
No, and when we do what we do, which is give that evidence of life after death, and hopefully people feel uplifted and entertaining sort of experience, that for me is important. That's what's going to keep people going. But one of the interesting things about my religion that I talk so passionately about is I've never had anyone in spirit say it's the right one, or I should have it. In fact, lots of our spiritual philosophers talk about that there's no need for religion. It's a human condition to want to label things, to want to compartmentalise it. So while I'm very proud, because I like that label, I like to call myself a spiritual medium, it's not important to the spirit world. Spirit world aren't as fussy, and actually they get to a point that they see less relevance in it. It's about the way we live our life, that service, that power of unconditional love. And I think that's what unites us on weekends like this, and that will be the more important sort of powerful thing going forward.
So, any questions? Oh. No.
He barely coloured one in. You know,
I barely coloured one in. Who wants to read about me? No, I couldn't do it. No. Not got the patience or the time. Too busy. We've got to get the golf handicap down. So
Okay.
really ain't got the time.
So, any final questions for Ivan? All right, yeah, please.
When I obviously was working with you, when you were giving me the prompts, is that because you could feel it, or you were just trying to get me to explore that?
Oh yeah, I knew the communicator was.
Okay.
So there's this concept, I like Bill Hughes started using collective consciousness. I've always loved that. But the spirit energy exists absolutely anywhere. And
Sorry.
yeah.
And don't get too hung up, like Ashley touched on it, about labelling things. It's like, as humans, we like to have a label on it because we like to cut out.
You want to say something, Mary?
Say
Give
that?
them.
That's it, what he said. We actually, as human beings, we do need, or for us, we're more comfortable, we feel the need to everything. I can't say it. Oh, balls. Okay, I can't say it. But we like to have labels, etc. You know what I mean? We feel more comfortable that way. We don't have to have labels. I mean, we're all, I presume we're all spiritualists, but I mean, people say to me, are you religious? I'm not a religious man, but I believe in God. Simple as that. You know? You don't have to be a religious man. Do it or person. Or gender. I don't know what to say nowadays. It's all gone wrong. Oh, here we go. I grew up in the 70s, love. You know what I mean? It was completely different then. So, any other questions?
Not a question.
Where are we? Hello, Mary.
Hi. I just want to say, don't anyone budding mediums, please don't get hung up about getting a name, because I don't ask for names, because I say that names can be too common, and generally if I get a name it will be because the name is uncommon, in as much as in my ancestry they're Hungarian, and I was giving a lady a private reading one day and I was given a name, I couldn't get the pronunciation. She said, that's okay, I can understand, but I wouldn't really expect you to because it's Hungarian. And I said, well, they probably think because I've got Hungarian ancestry, I should know how to pronounce it, but I don't. But that made more sense to her than me giving her John, James or Fred. So I don't like common names because they can be too common. And I like to know who I'm going to, rather than just throwing it out. I'm very picky, you know that.
But then what if?
Yeah. And I don't like cause of death either, because that's being morbid. I don't want morbid.
Yeah, but if you say someone...
They can give other things that indicate who they are without cause of death.
All right, if you say so.
Yeah.
Everyone works differently. We all have different ways to work.
Yeah. But it's just I don't want people that
Told
are
you mediums
thinking
are most
about
difficult.
doing mediumship to get hung up on specifics that are not necessarily
We give just examples
Yeah.
of how you can
But then
work.
you need to make it clear
did.
to them that is not necessarily how it is always. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Don't give her a mic again, Ashley, for God's sake. Mary's always been awkward. Right, yes, she's actually right, really. There's no specifics. That makes sense. It's like, it's what you're comfortable with. I'm comfortable with names and reasons for passing. I'm comfortable with that. But it's what you're comfortable with. It's how you want to work. So we're all different people. We all will work differently. In a strange sense, there's no right or wrong way. There's a bad way, there's no wrong way. Does that make sense? Yeah. You know, it's what you're comfortable with and how you want to work. Simple as that. Yeah, she don't want that.
Just everyone could.
Maybe the difference, I'm going to hold it here.
Yeah.
Maybe the difference is just thinking about the different deliveries there. If you're in front of a room full of 200 people and they want to hear what's going on, so if you're able to give the name, the date of birth and the way of death, it keeps it moving, whereas in a private reading...
Oh no, but this is all across the board with me.
Okay. I was just thinking from if you're sat in a room full of 100 people, maybe that's an easier way if you're doing it as a charity thing
Yeah.
or something like that, as opposed
Yeah,
to I know what
the idea of culture, I think, is like the culture of the mediumship as well, because Mary's always worked in that way. Encourage them to interpret everything, but yeah, absolutely. So when I'm working with my guides, I get my guides to a point. I always refer to it as the waiting room from Quantum Leap, for those of you who are old enough to remember Quantum Leap. But I imagine my guides. Yeah, I say, right, I want them lined up, names, rough age, how they passed. So I'm creating that condition. But yeah, absolutely. When you're working with someone, certainly, when I was opening up, my sister and I used to sit in there and say, we've like psychic duds, we've got to get anything. And it was this idea of, if you're getting nothing, what is nothing? Oh, I can just see the colour, so you've got something. And it's all about starting to understand. Everyone's getting something. But yeah, so you're absolutely right. And then when you get comfortable with it, keep into it. Oh, two of you.
I would say the problem with giving out names is that so many people go through their entire life using a name that's not actually theirs. So if you give out their full name,
Correct. Yeah.
and I'll prove this,
They're cool.
people knows me as Frank. I'm not. But I'm not.
All right, Frank, well done. Now, quiet.
If I was to come later in time with my full name, they'd all be looking, don't know him, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but they'll give you it. The spirit will give you the information that they would understand. Does that make sense? And don't try. The worst thing you can do when you get information is to try and work out what it means. Just give it. It's Grant Derek. It's very true, actually. He said, you just got to give what you get. All right? Simple as that. For example, so if you're passing, I might say to my son, right, when I'm dead, I'm going to come, and all I'm going to say is Coca-Cola. That's it. That's all I'm going to say, Coca-Cola. Right, now, he goes to see a medium. I've long past gone. He's going to see a medium, and say I'm there, and I'm going Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola. If you're trying to, people will go, oh, I've got Coca-Cola, right. You might go, oh, he's showing me something about physiology, pop, because we try and elaborate on stuff, and we overcomplicate what they're giving us. Instead of just say, Coca-Cola, fine, done. Do you know what I mean? No, you don't interpret, you just give what they're giving you. Simple as that. It's like, true story, I don't remember, it's quite a few years ago. I walked up to see me, she sat down, I went, oh, hi, I've got a gentleman here, he's coming, and it was something I'd never say. I went, like a bat out of hell. So I was being given that. She got up, went, thanks, that's all I need, walked out. I had to go and get her because she hadn't paid me. But, no. I went, you sure? She went, no, that's all I needed. Because they played bat out of hell when he went down the funeral, yes? Good. Number one, for years, okay, forever. And that's all she wanted to know. That was it. And so if I'd have tried to sort of give it a different way or interpret it, it might have been all cockeyed.
Okay. Elaine wanted to make one final point.
You go on. Yeah, go on.
No, there's obviously all this hang up of if you say a name or not say a name. But when you do get names, and they are your granddad, your nan, your uncle, and you get that is marvellous. And what is extra marvellous is when you get the name of the recipient. Because then you then know that you have definitely a loved one behind you. Because they're calling out to the recipient to say, I'm here, and they're calling your name out.
It still goes back to that concept that Frank, not Frank, was making, is that if it
Frank,
makes
not
sense,
Frank.
if it's evidence, if it's not evidential, it doesn't make sense. And when we talk a lot about past lives, so we talk about
That
an
later.
attachment to personality, we can go off.
Oh, that's
into
going to be a fun one with this
You're
crowd.
absolutely right. Yeah, yeah, it's another human label.
Well, it's like, suppose, I know Mary mentioned the Hungarians, suppose you had an Italian come and see you, you had the Italian connections, didn't you?
I never told you that, but yes, I have.
I'm even good when I'm not trying. And if they never spoke English, they would communicate to you, wouldn't they? Yes? Because people say, but you don't speak English, but they will give it to you how you understand it. Because the simple out of that is like, well, we've got different countries down here, haven't we? There's no different countries over there. Oh yeah, you get the accents, yeah. You know they're Italian. That makes sense. You would know that, but yeah, because that was one of Houdini's biggest. Was it Houdini? Yes, it was.
He didn't believe in it.
He didn't believe in it because he was a friend of Conan Doyle's who did. He spent years trying to disprove it because he went to see a medium. I think it was Conan Doyle's wife actually. obviously Mrs. Doyle. Mrs. Doyle. Sounds very Scottish. I know it's Irish, but it sounds Scottish. I'll turn it to Sean Connery now. Operation Grand Slam. Yes.
You know, some mediums end up giving you a gift. Now that's obviously symbolic.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Why don't they explain it to us what it means?
Good question.
You should know.
Because it's from your communicator, often.
But what was I talking about? Yes, so Houdini, and because Conan Doyle's missus was doing the reading, he got mad. He went, "Look, she never spoke a word of English. How do you know this?" And steamed out. And since from then, he wanted to disprove spiritism.
Right.
Yeah, it's a little fact for you, didn't know that, did you?
Tea, coffee, and cake. So,
That's
ladies
it,
and
yeah.
gentlemen, thank you very much for your
Thank you very
energy.
much, everybody. Cheers.
See you later.
We're doing one on past lives later. Are we? Yeah, don't come. Don't come. Don't come. I'm joking.